We've got a great topic today. We've actually got some news for all of you, which we're very excited about. We've got a project that we've been working on.
And I'm so excited about this one.
What actually motivated this project was Felicity for kindergarten was part of kind of like a homeschool co-op thing. And I'll never forget, she walked out of the classroom when I went to pick her up and I could see it on her face. It was like her face was about to burst into tears. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, Felicity, what's wrong? And this little, maybe 5 years old at the time, trying to process, she said, Daddy, the kids were laughing at me.
It's a lot. That's a lot to unpack because their little minds can't comprehend anything outside of like this perfect world.
And it started a conversation that we would have as parents, helping her process, how do you handle people's perception of you? Mm-hmm. How do you handle making a mistake or being embarrassed? And how do you tell a little 5-year-old how to process that? And so the exciting announcement that we have, the project is... What's going on, guys? We are back for another episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast. I am Jeremy.
I'm Ginger.
And we've got a great topic today. We've actually got some news for all of you, which we're very excited about. We've got a project that we've been working on, and we're going to get to that because it was motivated from some events in our life, specifically with our kids. And I wouldn't say around the topic of bullying per se, but issues that children work through when, you know, they don't know how to respond, when they're being laughed at, when they're being mistreated, when they make mistakes, whether it's at school or on the playground with their friends. So we've got a really exciting project that we want to announce to you. But Ginger, you know what podcasts do sometimes?
What?
They have segments.
Segments like what?
Well, they would have like Raising Heights with the Kelsey brothers has like new news, you know, and we don't have a segment.
Well, I think that we should add a segment.
So, I like that. So here's my segment idea. I just told Ginger about this literally before we hit record. Is I like our segment can be talk about it.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So where it's something like what you talk about, whatever you want to talk about, like an update on the week, whatever you got going on. So Ginge, I don't know how to segue into the segment, but talk about it.
Yeah. We have family in town. We just had company in town last week, and that was super fun hosting Cade and Gabby. And then now we have, family, and they're actually at the park right now. And so we're recording this episode while they're out, getting their kids out to play. And what happened? Jared, you talk about it. You talk about your hand.
Well, yeah. So
actually,
I talking about Cade and Gabby, we went to Gabby's concert and it started to rain. And so I go backstage and there's like tile stairs. And I think my feet were wet. Maybe some water had dripped in. And I'm holding Felicity and in my right arm. And I take 2 steps down the stairs and then immediately wipe out. Mm-hmm. So not the kind of wipe out where you're like, oh, that's slippery and you kind of catch yourself.
Oh, it was bad.
But it was like we went down.
Yeah.
So my legs out from under me. I'm holding my daughter. Tile stairs. So immediately I thought she cracked her head. Mm-hmm. And my first thought, she started to scream. Mm-hmm. And my first thought was good. Mm-hmm. Because I thought her head whips back. I tried to break her fall with my arm, but it was a split second. So I didn't even have time to respond. I think my arm being around her did probably break her fall. But by God's grace, I'm holding her. I run outside of the green room and she's crying. And, you know, I'm trying to console her. And then she starts saying, my butt. Like her back was her, her butt was her. And I was like, okay, is that the only thing that hurts? And she's like, yeah. And so then I was like, is it going away? She's like, yeah. So she calmed down really fast. Yeah,
but you were
after I realized the shock of it and like there's just immediate like panic because of her.
Yeah.
Then it sets in, like my elbow is bleeding, my hand.
Well, because she had blood on her.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, where did this blood come from? But it was actually from you.
Right. Yeah, from my elbow, a little cut. And then later that night I saw my leg, but my hand was throbbing. And so my hand, what's the guy that has the huge balloon hand, Premax or something, Baymax?
Yeah.
So
your hand ballooned up.
So my hand ballooned up.
It was crazy.
The next morning, but that night it didn't, but it was throbbing. And so I have mobility. I have not gotten an x-rayed yet.
He needs to because it still is puffy.
I don't know if we have any like doctors but
swelling will not go down.
But also I'm missing a knuckle. So I do not have a knuckle where I used to have a knuckle.
He broke his hand.
So I don't know where it went.
It's gone.
It's gone. So that's what I'm talking about. I went to golf the next day and realized very quickly that wasn't going to work. So
that's a bad idea.
I'm swinging with just my right arm.
Oh, my word.
I had a few good drives.
And you busted a few windows?
Yeah. My golf game.
Needless to say, it's been, I was going to say you're actually good at golfing, but it's been a crazy few days then.
It has, yeah. And I went into a physical trainer yesterday and they were like, yeah, you should probably go get x-rayed.
So I think you should.
So I'm going to get x-rayed. Yeah. All right. So that's our new segment. Talk about it.
That's it. We talked about it.
We talked about it. I like that. Okay, Ginge. So today what we're going to talk about on the pod is we've got a very exciting announcement. So stoked for that. It's a cool resource. But before we get to that, what actually motivated this project was Felicity for kindergarten was part of kind of like a homeschool co-op thing. And so she was going away for, I think it was twice a week, she'd go and be with other students in a classroom. And I'll never forget, she walked out of the classroom when I went to pick her up. She got in the car and I could see it on her face. It was like her face was about to burst into tears. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, Felicity, what's wrong? Or how was your day? And this little, maybe 5 years old at the time, trying to process, she said, Daddy, the kids were laughing at me because I think she did something wrong in class or she did something which probably was funny, mm-hmm. but the kids started laughing and she felt like they were laughing at her. Mm-hmm. And she said, I didn't want to cry in front of them. And as she started to cry, she's communicating to me this, she didn't want to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. She was afraid and wanted to be, out of that setting. She didn't know how to react. So she bottled up her tears. Mm. And then as soon as she gets in the car, just kind of bursts into tears. And it started a conversation that we would have as parents, helping her process, how do you handle people's perception of you? Mm-hmm. How do you handle making a mistake or being embarrassed? How do you handle it when people would bully you or mock you or make fun of you or gang up on you? And how do you tell a little 5-year-old how to process that?
It's a lot. That's a lot to unpack because their little minds can't comprehend anything outside of like this perfect world where everybody gets along. You have all these friends. Yeah, it's hard to share. But like when something like that happens, we ended up finding out it was difficult, so hard to see her in that place and feeling that way as well. But at the same time, we ended up finding out like it was something that they actually weren't laughing at her. They were laughing at something that had happened. That, yeah, she did. Sure. That was like funny. But she didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. And so in the moment, she was just shook.
And her little world was caving in. And that's what it sent. That's what it felt like.
Because she's like, why are my friends laughing at me? And that hurts. And it's something that is painful. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think that definitely started a conversation with her about a lot of those things of like, how do you even reach out to others who are being bullied or other people when they're doing something wrong? What do you do?
Right.
What is your response?
And wanting to help her have a mindset where she's not rising or falling based on people's perceptions of her. Mm-hmm. So trying to build a mindset for our 5-year-old where she doesn't feel like her world will cave in or be lifted up based on what the kids at school or what her friends at church think of her or say about her. Because we all know that kids can be cruel, right? And the playground can be a very hard knock school of life. And there's real bullying that happens, right? Mm-hmm. And often it's the result of a child, usually a child who's a bully. I mean, a child who's acting out in that way is probably being bullied or probably being mistreated or probably not being cared for like they should at home. And so they're bringing this, what some experts would call like this invisible backpack to school, where this invisible backpack of trauma, where they've been slapped, they've been beat down, they've been spoken down to. So they bring that with them and they have a context coming into a group of other children where now they start to speak that way and behave that way toward kids.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Fabric by Gerber Life.
All right. I often take these breaks to confess things, Ginger, and I've got to confess, it took me way too long to think about life insurance for my family. I just did not have it at the top of my head. You're young, you think you're going to live forever. Fabric by Gerber Life has made getting term life insurance very easy and affordable. And I'm telling you, it lets you rest at night knowing if God forbid something happens to you, your family's taken care of.
Yeah. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance that you can get done today. Made for busy parents like us and you all. It's all online, on your schedule, right from your couch, and you can be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required.
If you've got kids, you've got to get it locked in now. And now's the time to get the best rate as well. The longer you wait with life insurance, as you know, the rates go higher. So join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com. That's MEET, like meet or be introduced to Fabric. Meetfabric.com/GingerJeremy. That's meetfabric.com/GingerJeremy. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about EveryPlate.
EveryPlate is a meal delivery service. Love it already. That makes cooking at home so much easier, affordable, and healthy.
I know you're probably asking yourself, is this going to cost a lot? Nope. EveryPlate, they are actually cheaper than the grocery store, and it helps you stick to your budget. It's all shipped to your door. It's super convenient.
They've also got pre-portioned ingredients, so you know exactly what you need. You're given exactly what you need and how you need to make it. The right portions for less mess, which is a total lifesaver on busy nights. EveryPlate is a phenomenal solution to doing what everyone has to do every day, which is eat.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that they have simple meals that can be under 30 minutes. And that's my jam. I love meals that are shipped to my door under 30 minutes prep time, and they're quick and easy, no overthinking required.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me rattle off a couple things. You guys ready for this? 98% of customers surveyed say they save time meal planning with EveryPlate. 98% say it makes dinner planning less stressful. 98% of customers say EveryPlate meals are delicious. 98% of customers say it reduces the mental load of meal planning and cooking. 94% of customers surveyed say EveryPlate reduces mealtime stress and conflict. 3 out of 4 customers surveyed say EveryPlate encourages their kids to try new foods. That's a big one. 97% of customers surveyed said they would recommend EveryPlate to friends and family. We're part of that 97%. We're recommending it to you. So here's what you need to do. Try EveryPlate and get $1.99 per meal on your first box.
Wow.
Go to everyplate.com/ginger199. Use code ginger199 to claim your offer. That's code ginger199 at everyplate.com to get $1.99 per meal on your first box. Save on these delicious recipes at EveryPlate. So there's ministry for them, but then there's also ministry for those children who, and not only in a negative sense, but even in a positive sense, where you're saying you don't want to gain your perception of self-identity from what other people think about you. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had to deal with that with like headlines, right? Yeah. Like if you read your headlines that are positive, it gives you a big fat head. Mm. If you read your headlines that are negative, it cuts you to the heart.
Yeah. It can either build you up or cut you down in a moment if you're living for that.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, well, we have to live for the glory of God. We have to do what's right. And ultimately, like even within friendships or within marriage, you want your spouse to appreciate you. You want people to appreciate you. You want to be in community, right, which is what I've talked about, and people pleaser as well. We are designed for friendship. We're designed for community. But with that also comes a downside of where when you're living for everyone else's approval of you, then that disapproval will just so quickly cut you down if that's what you're focusing on and that's your identity.
Right.
And so finding it in something deeper and greater than yourself, which is ultimately found in your relationship with Christ and who he created you to be, that's where you find purpose.
Yeah, and that's ultimately where we came to with little Felicity, 5-year-old Felicity. I remember telling her, you know, Felicity, God's not laughing at you. Mm. So you can remember when other kids maybe are putting you down or laughing at you in a mean way, God's not laughing at you. Mm-hmm. He's happy with you. He loves you. And for her to be thinking, having this awareness of her relationship with God that allows her to transcend in that moment out of, the walls are closing in socially.
And it's sweet to see too, because she's had other conversations with us about times where maybe she got an award for obedience one day, and then she saw another kid who had struggled a lot, and he may have been pushing against the boundaries and against the rules or talking too much in class every time. And she was like, I just really feel bad for him. He hasn't gotten his award yet. And she's like, I want to encourage him to ask Jesus for help. And so she did one day when he was acting up, and she was afraid he was going to not get an award. And so she was like, I just leaned forward and I said, maybe you can ask Jesus, because sometimes I don't want to obey the rules either. But sometimes I just pray and ask Jesus. And she said, and he paused and he took a moment. And I think he was thinking about what I had said, because she really wants him to get an award. She wants him to be able to, get to that point. It's not like she's perfect either. She has days where, all kids do. But I thought that was precious, because then you're looking beyond yourself and you're thinking, okay, how can I encourage even those who may be having a hard day around you to thrive? And I think that that is ultimately the goal. Like when we get our eyes off of ourselves and our circumstances, it doesn't mean that you just let people run all over you.
Right.
There's a balance in that. But I think that we see it in our own lives. Kids see it. And I think it's just a good reminder for us to look beyond ourselves and say, okay, how can I love and serve others even who are in that tough place?
Yeah, that's huge. Well, do you remember any times when you were a kid? Because what we're even as I listen to you saying that, I'm like, we're bringing this adult perspective of objectivity where they don't feel that, right? One of my favorite lines from Love Boat Captain, it's a Pearl Jam song. Eddie Vedder sings, the young, they can lose hope because they can't see beyond today, the wisdom that the old can't give away. So it's like there's this wisdom that those who've walked a longer path in life have an objectivity that are able to look beyond Friday night in high school, right? Like, yeah, she broke up with you, she dumped you. Don't worry. You're not even going to remember her name in 10 years when you're married and have kids. There's hope beyond today. But try to tell that sophomore in high school that when they're going, no, this is my whole world. My whole world is caving in. And they don't have hope. They can't see beyond today. And he says the wisdom the old can't give away because it's a learned wisdom. And so we're sitting here talking about our 5-year-old, at the time, Felicity, like, all right, Felicity, have some objectivity here. Do you remember when you were a kid, were there any moments where you felt like that, like your world was caving in, or your parents were so good at protecting you from bully situations? In fact, maybe it was more the isolation side, right? Like being sheltered. But kids are kids.
Yeah.
Do you have any core memories like that?
I think looking back, thankfully I was protected from a lot of the bullying, but ultimately when it comes to people pleasing, I struggle with that so deeply. And so on that side of things, that was an issue. And I felt like, I don't fit in. I'm not going to be liked by these people because maybe I'm not, as cool as them. Like even in Broomball, I shared that story about just feeling insecure. There was a lot of insecurity in my own heart. And I think that I was my own worst enemy and critic was myself, and just how I was so insecure that I almost created that effect in my own head about no one's approving of me.
Yeah.
No one's going to like me. And that led me down a bad path that really was not healthy for how I process life. And there are days where it's still hard for me to process things correctly, because I think those patterns that we allow, like thinking through, okay, how are others viewing me right now? I want to put on the best front for them, or I want to present myself in a certain way or look a certain way. So even in my eating habits, I remember that was something that I don't ever remember somebody telling me, oh, you don't look pretty or whatever. But I think that thought process in my own head drove me there, to where I would look at my friends who were skinnier than I was, and I was skinny, but they were skinnier than I was. And so I was like, I don't need to eat as much because I'm afraid of being too fat and I don't want them to not approve of me. And so that led me down that path of trying to avoid food. Yeah. And that was very unhealthy. And so I've seen that as something that has continued from when I was young. It continued up through my teen years. And then once I finally realized, I was like, wow, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be so concerned about that. I can eat healthy or I can work out, but I'm so focused on that. And no one else is even thinking that way. It was a self-imposed sort of like mindset. And so I even though I wasn't bullied, I think I kind of wanted to fit in. I wanted to have people like me, and that's how I thought I could. We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Function Health.
We chose Function Health because it is the only health platform that gives us the most data on what's actually going on inside our bodies. It's the kind of data that most people will never get in their life about how actually healthy they are. Function Health gives it to you.
Inside Function, you can access and test for over 100 plus biomarkers, from hormones to toxins to markers of heart health, inflammation, and stress.
Yeah, you can also access MRI and chest CT scans, all tracked in one secure place over time. It's a near 360 view of your health. That's why top health leaders like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Jeremy London are all behind Function Health. There's legit doctors who are promoting this. It's been so helpful for us. Sign up for Function Health today. So to learn more, join using our link, Function, a near 360 view to see what's happening in your body. And our first 1,000 listeners to sign up get $100 credit toward their membership. Visit functionhealth.com/ginger and use code GINGER100 to sign up and start owning your health, to start understanding your health, to start taking steps to being a healthier person.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Nanit.
When you first have a baby, tell me if I'm wrong, sleep routines, nap routines can feel impossible to get into because the baby's always waking up or you don't know when they're supposed to sleep. Nanit makes a huge difference in that because it actually tracks sleep patterns and it does the heavy lifting for you. It tracks sleep patterns, milestones, so you can stop guessing like when's the best time to put them to bed. How are they sleeping? Nanit gives you all that information. It's really incredible.
Oh yeah, I think one of the first purchases we made was to make sure we had a good baby monitor. Yeah. And Nanit is the best. It is literally the top of the line. You can see your baby from above. They have this awesome, they have an above view camera that you're able to see your baby. Like you said, those abilities to track will give you such peace of mind as a parent.
And you're not just saying that as your opinion. Nanit is literally the #1 most awarded smart baby monitor trusted by parents and experts. Over 35 expert parent awards given to Nanit baby monitors. Here's what you need to do to get crystal clear video, two-way audio, so you can see and hear your baby from anywhere, anytime, with smart personalized insights and notifications. What you need to do to get this baby monitor is go to nanit.com, use code BABY25 to save 25% off. This is just for our listeners. Save 25% off this incredible baby monitor. Go to nanit.com, use code BABY25 to save. That's nanit, NANIT.com, and use code BABY25.
Now back to the episode. I think you see it as kids. There were a couple times, I'm sure, I do remember just a couple times where, maybe an older group of kids would be playing and they'd be like, well, you're too young, or you can't run as fast as us. So, you can't play this game. And it was just friends or siblings or something. And those things happen. And as a kid, it definitely feels so massive. And ultimately, it's processing that as a 5-year-old, processing that as a 10-year-old. It's going to be harder than it is now as an adult. Looking back, I'm like, oh, that was so small. It was so insignificant. Mm-hmm. But for little minds, it feels so huge. And I just want to even turn that back on you, that question, because I don't know, was there ever a time that you felt like you were bullied, and how did your parents walk you through it, or how did you deal with that?
Yeah. I definitely was. I don't know if you and I have even talked about this much, but in high school, middle school, actually, I was homeschooled for those early years until basically almost all through high school. And because of that, I was, not to the degree you were, but I was definitely sheltered as well. And so I started playing sports. And so a lot of my friends were in public school and outside of the church setting or the church context. And they just knew stuff that they were growing up at a rate that I wasn't in terms of their knowledge and understanding of the world. And so that would leave me feeling kind of lost and left out and wondering what's going on. And it never, they would laugh at me. Like they would ask me silly questions and I would give a dumb answer because I just had no idea what it was. And I remember one time, in a circle right before soccer practice, a kid asked me a question and I'm like, what are you talking about? And they all started laughing. And I'm like, okay, like trying to figure out like what's going on here. And I would respond kind of in kind, like I'd start jabbing them back, Seth Hurley, apologize for that. Seth's a buddy of mine now, but there was a time where I went on a trip to England in 2002 to play soccer. And we did a tour of England, Wales, and Ireland. And that whole trip was brutal for me. I was teased incessantly, incessantly. They did not stop teasing me about everything, about what I knew, what I didn't know, how I dressed, this or that. And I could not, it's like a little kid on the end of a mob. Like you cannot, anything you do to fight back is just mocked. And it's the dumbest stuff. So you're thinking like a 14-year-old teasing, but they would just mimic your voice, like, oh, whoa, whoa, whatever it was. And, kids are kids. And I just remember being on the end of it and it getting more and more exasperated, which of course fuels the fire, right? Like the more that you react to it, the more they're instigated to do it.
Did anybody stand up for you or? Yeah,
a couple times. There was a couple of my buddies who wanted to stand up for me, but then they also didn't want to be, there's a pressure of like, they know if I stand up for them, then I'm going to receive the same treatment. And so they would kind of be laughing and they'd look at me and say, hey, sorry, but they wouldn't really stick up, or they'd come to me afterwards during the trip. It was like a 2-week-long trip too. And they'd be like, hey man, I'm sorry about this guy, whatever. And I'm just like, whatever. And so I'm responding as a 14-year-old kid, getting angry or trying to jab back. But it was like, these guys were genuinely funny. And they were the kind of guys who could hold an audience, like they were the kind of guys that now would be like a stand-up comedian who can like control a room. And so as I think back on it, I'm like, shoot, those guys were clever, but what they were doing was cruel as well. Like they knew they were ganging up on me. But then you think, okay, here's a 14-year-old kid. He's being egged on. He's not going to have the maturity, even the kid who's doing the bullying or whatever you want to call it, to go, hey guys, let's ease up. Hey man, I'm sorry, that was funny, but let's pick another target. Like, let's make fun of me now. They're just going to keep piling on, And so I remember that. But I remember just being like, I can't get out of this. And you don't have the objectivity of going like, hey, we're all going to be adults one day who have responsibilities. This is your world. This is your social world. And you feel like you can't get a grip and you feel like they're laughing at you. And I remember like genuinely like having a couple nightmares about it and just feeling like I can't win. And I didn't have the greatest objectivity around it. But I do look back and remember like that was really a difficult time and it was frustrating. And you don't know how to process it. You don't have all of the faculties to handle it appropriately. So I remember one time, I started like, yelling at the kid or whatever. And it's like, yeah, what are you supposed to do? Like, how do you respond to this? And that was not severe. That's a homeschool kid who's out of the loop, who's getting picked on some jokes. But there's severe bullying that happens to kids. That's physical, but even worse than being shoved to the ground is like the emotional or mental torture. Feeling like you genuinely don't belong. And I do remember when I went to school, I went to public school the last couple of years of high school. And one of my fears, which I don't think I would have articulated at the time, but was walking into the cafeteria and nobody to sit with. So that I think was a projection of me having this sense of I don't belong. I'm the odd man out because I'm peculiar, I'm unique, whether that's because I was homeschooled or whether it's students or kids who maybe have, a physical characteristic that is different, or they look different, they act different, they come from a different culture, whatever it is. It's opportunity for the other kids to point out those differences and mock them for it. And so then you start to feel like I don't fit in. I don't belong here.
Wow.
And that makes a big impact.
It does, for sure. And you're even in the confidence that you have. And I think that can just cut to your core. And it's sometimes words people say, they might be like, saying a joke, not really meaning it, but that cuts deep and it can affect how you move forward in life and the level of confidence you'll have in a lot of things, or like critiques. Like then if somebody critiques you, then it's like, oh, it cuts to my core. I can't take that because I'm so insecure.
And you either crumble under the critique or you fight back because you're used to like I've got to fight to survive. And so you see kids respond in different ways. They'll cave in to themselves, or they fight back and they start wanting to bully. And so they pick on someone smaller than them, right? Because it's like this trickle down effect. So I'm getting bullied by these kids who are, the kids I look up to. So I will go and look down on someone else and treat them the same way, kind of trickle down. And that happens from parents to kids, than other kids, which is why, our counsel to Felicity that day when she came in and devastated by how her classmates had treated her was we wanted her to think outside of their perception, which is why we started saying, Felicity, God's not laughing at you. Like God is not, he doesn't think you're stupid, or he doesn't think you don't know enough, or he doesn't think you're, whatever. God, let's think about how God views you. And I think she was really grounded in that.
Yeah, I think so. It helped her so much to have a category to process it. And ultimately, there are times where as parents, you'll then need to go talk to a teacher and say like, okay, what happened, or is how do you handle situations like this? But ultimately, it was good because then if that happened another time, then she was able to talk about it and have a framework for dealing with it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that was also encouraging to see, her response. And when you're little, it all hurts so much deeper. And so those things will come up all the time. And I think of another scenario. There were a lot of kids playing just the other day, and it was something where Felicity thought, oh, their game they're playing doesn't seem so fun, because there were other kids who maybe they were just feeling a little bit left out.
Yeah.
And so she tried to speak up for them. And then she was hurt that maybe the other kids were like, well, we're already playing this game. And it wasn't a bad game. It was just like something
they were just leaving other kids out.
They were leaving other kids out. And so she felt really bad. And she came crying to us and was like, oh, I really want them to not feel left out. And so one of the kids came back later and apologized. I'm so sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry you felt left out. And her standing up for them in that moment was really encouraging for us to see, because even though she was like, I'm not going to play that game because you're not including these other kids.
Well, that's what when she was crying, I went over there and I thought, okay, someone's done something to her. That's typically what you see with a kid if they're hurt because someone, but she was really upset because of how they had treated some other children.
Yeah.
And Felicity's very sensitive.
She is.
And which is really sweet. But for her to be thinking about how they're mistreating someone else, that's a huge part of people pleasing as well. And that's a huge aspect of your book is when you are enslaved to people pleasing, you're not the only victim. Oh, I guess I can just kind of suck it up and endure, and I'm kind of trapped by my need for everybody to like me. Well, sure, you're victim number one, maybe. But then actually what'll happen is what I just communicated with, my friends in England when we were on that trip. They don't want to stick up for me because then they'll be perceived away. So now you're watching as someone else is being harmed out of your own self-preservation. So all of a sudden you're not the only victim. Now there's a string of victims. So you're the kid on the playground watching that little kid get bullied, and you're refusing to say anything, even though there's 10 of you who could easily overpower the situation and stop the bullying from happening. But you're so entrapped to your own self-preservation.
Because you don't want to stand alone.
Right.
And you don't want to be grouped in with them.
And so telling Felicity that when she makes a stand, she's not alone, because the Lord is with her, and the Lord loves her, and the Lord is not laughing at her.
And he's pleased with you.
It emboldens her to not only not have her own world caved in, But when she sees others being mistreated, to go, hey guys, no, we don't do that. Like we don't play those games, you know, we ain't about that, because she's not operating out of a sense of, I need these kids' perception of me to be spot on, otherwise I'm not approved. So it's elevating that thing. And so here's the exciting thing. These conversations and these situations we recognized are commonplace, right? Like every parent's dealing with these.
Yeah, almost every day. I mean, from like little kids all the way up through college, through adulthood. I mean, we never stop facing that people pleasing. Most of us, I would say, are facing it in some way or another. If it's us or if it's, you know, a friend or a child, we're going to come in contact with it almost every single day.
And so the exciting announcement that we have, the project is, we have written another children's book.
We have. And I'm so excited about this one. We both are. But I think because my book, People Pleaser, came out and we were having all these conversations with our kids about people pleasing, and we really wanted to have a resource for them.
Yeah. And so this is written for children like ages 4 through 10. It's called You Always Belong, Knowing God's Love and Finding Your Place. And it really actually plays through some of these scenarios that we've actually walked through with our own kids, where they are, you know, in a school program and they experience something like what we've been talking about, or they're playing sports and they fail and children respond to them a certain way. And what's really exciting about this and why I love this project is because it's not only like trying to help them process for themselves, like, hey, you don't need to perceive yourself the way they're perceiving you, but it encourages them to actually step out and to love others and help others who are going through that as well.
Yeah, for sure. To look beyond yourself and show them the love of Christ, which is what I love. And so this book, it's been a fun project.
Yeah.
We put in special little touches, things that our kids love, but ultimately it's geared towards just kids in general. And I think that it will hopefully be a good resource for you. So if you have a child who's struggling with these things that we've talked about today, it really focuses on the heart of people pleasing, on finding your identity in Christ alone. And so, yeah, we're excited that this book will soon be in your hands.
We partnered with Sarah Romero. The art is beautiful. It'll come out in January 26th, but you can get it as a gift and kind of pre-order, and even for the holiday season, you know, get pre-order as a gift for people, and they'll receive it right after Christmas. I want to read you the back. It says, "You were made to be part of God's story, a beautiful note in his song. So let his light shine as you walk through the world, and remember, you always belong." And actually, I thought this isn't giving away too much if I were to read the author's note that we wrote to the parents and the kids. So this is what we wrote. "Did you know you were made for friendship with God? That's right. You were created to be known and loved by him, to enjoy life with him forever. But something went wrong. Sin broke that perfect friendship and made our hearts wander far from God. That's why Jesus came. He died on the cross and rose again to bring us back to God, so we could always belong in his family. When you trust in Jesus, you're never alone. God promises to be with you, help you, and love you no matter what. He brings you into his story, gives you a purpose, and fills your heart with hope. So, when life feels hard or you feel left out, remember this: you are not forgotten. You were made to walk with God and shine his light in the world. We're praying that you'll trust him, walk with him, and always remember you belong. With love, Ginger and Jeremy."
I like it.
Yeah, it's exciting. We also did an audiobook for it.
We did the kids' audiobook. It's so fun. So both of us went into studio, recorded that for you guys, so that can be a resource for your kiddos to listen to, even if you're on the way back from school or this conversation comes up, you can play the audiobook for your kiddos. And kind of just, if you played it, I thought about it, like even playing it over and over, it can get that concept in their mind of always belonging in God's family.
Yeah, and it's a good conversation starter. Like, the most valuable resource in moments like that for a child isn't going to be necessarily a children's book or like a video they watch, right? It's going to be the relationship of a mom and a dad talking about these things. And yet what we've found so helpful in these conversations is hearing from other parents how they've engaged that conversation. Because I'll tell you, when I first saw Felicity walk in the car, eyes ready to burst with tears, you're racing through going, how do I respond? Do I respond in anger toward those kids? Well, that's shaping how she's going to view those situations for the rest of her life.
And those kids.
Yeah. So, okay, let's help her respond in anger toward anyone, whoever speaks against her. Well, that's not helping her. Do we immediately go to the teacher and go, shut it down, and exercise this sense of power, which you can do as a parent in like kindergarten through 6th grade, probably to a degree, right? Like you can raise awareness and but eventually your kids are going to get into the real world and they're not going to have mommy and daddy to come, hitting their bully with a purse anytime someone says something bad or they cross the street and someone, curses at them. So you're trying to equip your kids. You're not trying to shelter and just protect them from this world. You're trying to equip them to engage the world. So what we needed to do is find an avenue of conversation to help Felicity think through this. Okay, Felicity, let's think about it. Were they laughing at you because they were mocking you? Were they laughing at you because you did something silly? Let's think about what was motivating them. And then, okay, so how do you respond to that? Well, is God laughing at you? And then she's answering, well, no, God's not laughing at me. Oh, okay, well, that's what really matters, right, Felicity? So engaging her in a way of processing this, that's going to help her. Well, this book is that. Like, we want this to be a tool for parents to help process with their kids the challenges of life and the challenges of identity, feeling like they don't belong in scenarios, feeling like they're the odd person out. And instead of leaning into that with anger or isolation, having them be empowered to actually engage the children around them to better help them.
I'm so excited for this resource. I really hope that's what it is for you guys. Just an opportunity to open up and engage with your kids on a different level.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting because we had kind of brainstormed about this. And as we had more and more scenarios that were coming up on the daily, I think that's kind of what propelled this. Right. And I remember even like back in the day, like we took our kids to the dentist and it was like a very scary thing. You found a resource of a podcast that was super helpful for them to engage with them. And they were listening to these stories about going to the dentist. And it was fun and it was interesting, but it also talked about the scary side of like going to the dentist. And it was something that we were looking at as a parent, like, oh, I'm so thankful for this resource because we had talked with them about it before. We're going to go get our teeth cleaned. It's going to be loud. This is what we're going to process through. So like, it's just helpful. It's a support for parents to have things like this to be able to pull out. And so if you're a grandparent, you can get this for your grandkids and talk to them about it.
If you know children.
If you know any children.
Or if you know people who know children. You could get this resource.
And if you haven't checked out People Pleaser for adults, this is the adult version.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, this is that's what started the conversation, was People Pleaser was received so well. And I think such a help to you writing it and to others reading it. We were like, well, we can help kids with this. Like, this is something that, our children are going through. And really, you get to a point of living as an adult entrapped by people pleasing because of how you learned how to process things as a kid.
100%. That's for sure. So we're just excited for this project to be in your hands. And like Jer said, it's available for pre-order. And you can, even around the holidays, you can be talking to your kids like about getting this for them. And go ahead and get it, pre-order it, and that way it's ready to go. Yep,
we are stoked. So I like these kids' books. Now having kids, it hits different writing kids' books with kids, because now they're coming out of our first children's book we wrote was when Felicity was really, really young. So we weren't even having these conversations yet. And now that we're having these conversations, it's like there's all of these ideas, not that we've got it sorted out, but ways we've had to kind of work through to help our own kids. And so to be able to provide that as a resource for others is we're really happy about that. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all of your support. We hope this is a major blessing to all of you. We're excited to get it into your hands and into your little children's hearts, because it will be a good resource for families. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for listening. As always, Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to get updates. We've got some very exciting guests coming up, some straight out of the Duggar Show world. So those will be coming up soon. Yeah, stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok at Ginger and Jeremy. And subscribe on YouTube to stay up with the latest.
Turn on those notifications to hear if Jer's hand is actually broken or sprained. I'm going to try to get him to the doctor today.
Yeah, we got to go. Okay. Grateful for you guys. Take care.